Since discovering do-it-yourself osteopathy, I have never looked back or sideways. So as a brief recap, Lia Nightbreeze was sent in search of the heart of the dragon by the leader of her community. And when she found out, thanks to her friends here, the flesh golem and the powerful wizard, she found that the heart of the dragon belonged to Yarrowin, who was actually a good dragon. Now she then set out investigating why the leader of her community would want her to slay a good dragon. And she discovered that her community had in fact been infiltrated by the Lady of Broken Branches, who is a very capricious and sinister figure who seeks to control the forests. Now both have gathered their forces, and we need to find out who is going to win. And what I'm going to use are these dice from Arena of the Planeswalkers. Now there are 5 each. We have a roughly even force here because we've got a mighty dragon, although she's immobile. And the Lady of Broken Branches has she has 3 hearts, 3 lives if you like. The golem has 2 hearts and the dragon has 3 hearts. And everybody else has 1 heart. So we roll 5 dice for one side, 5 dice for the other side. The more swords, the better. Shields cancel out swords. Any uncancelled swords get taken away from the force that loses. So let's see if this works. Lia's forces and the Lady of Broken Branches' forces. So the way I'm using these dice, a shield blocks a sword, an unblocked sword takes away one of the characters, and so the goodies have 2 unblocked swords and the baddies have 1 unblocked sword. The goodies. The baddies. Not so good this time. 1 baddie and 2 goodies. Much dice rolling later, it's come down to this. The Lady of Broken Branches has 1 life left. Yarrowin has 1 life left. And Lia is still in the fight. It's been brutal, it's been random, but it's a very easy way to work your way down a massive battle. The goodies. 2 hits and 1 shield. Oops. I keep doing that. That's not good. 4 hits. Oh no. So basically 3 hits are getting through and 2 hits are getting through to the baddies. So between the 2 forces here, the 2 major forces, I'd call that an unpleasant Pyrrhic not quite victory. So there's a cataclysm of magic between these 2. And in the explosion that follows, Lia is knocked unconscious, and when she awakes, she finds herself alone. She doesn't know who won or who lost, or even if either of the creatures survived, Yarrowin or the Lady of Broken Branches. So all that she can do now is collect her wits and move on to past is new, because there's nothing left for her in the woods anymore. I'm filming this part on Saturday, which is apparently National Poetry Day. So there was an old man from Harrow whose driveway was awfully narrow. He drove close to the edge but went through the hedge and ran over his precious prize marrow. Continuing with our story, Lia has now arrived at a nearby settlement, and we're going to try and use the one-page solar engine to find our way around. Now this I think was from Drive-Thru RPG, and I don't think it cost anything. And this board here is from the Temple of Elemental Evil board game. Now if we look here, we have to decide what we intend to do or what we want to accomplish in this scene. Now what Lia wants to do is to find an inn, possibly, to find somewhere to stay, and to discover if there are any people around who might need someone with her skills. So I'm not sure how we can categorise that. We're sort of exploring the new town. We want to talk to somebody helpful, and we want to find somewhere to rest. Now roll 1d6 to see if anything unexpected happens on a 6. No. Okay. Now we have an oracle here, and I'm saying that Lia has travelled through the night and arrived at the town square in the early morning, so I think it's normal that someone could be around, and so I'll roll a d6 for that, and that will be the orange one. Then there is a qualifier which may add something, so that's the purple one. So is there anyone around that we can talk to? 5, that's a yes, and there's no qualifier. Now in order to find out who might have turned up, I'm going to roll on this parent occupation chart from the Basic Fantasy Quick Character Generator. So we need a d20 to find the occupation. Oops, that's a 15. So that is a government official. Roll on chart 2B, which is a d8, which I can find. I'll just hit a tax collector. Okay. So we're going to roll the d6 for the initial reaction. 5 or 6. They are hostile. That's odd. We'll see what happens. 4. Denies access. So the tax collector, or person collecting revenue in some way, won't let us enter the town. Perhaps they have something against elves. So if I'm going to talk him round, I'm going to have to use bluff, and that will be opposed by his sense motive check. So I'm going to have to roll up his wisdom. So I'll roll a d20. That's a 9, and a 9 will give him a wisdom of 9. Okay, that doesn't come with a bonus. We don't know what level he is, but life's complicated enough. So with our charisma we get a -1, unfortunately, and he doesn't get a modifier with his thing. So we do our check and we get -1. He does his check unmodified and he succeeds, so he's not fooling. We're not fooling him. Okay, she's just going to lose her temper and threaten him because she's just witnessed the most horrific battle of her young life, young for an elf, and she's not going to be stopped by some fussy official. So his hit die, I would imagine, would be like a 1. So 10 plus the target's hit dice is the DC. I'm being vague about his stats because, you know, life. So she gets a -1 to try and get an 11. Oh, he's not having it. She's chaotic good, so she wouldn't just get her longsword in on the act. So I'm not sure what we can do. Is there anything we can do to persuade him? So if we look at this card rank thing for a complex question, I think it would apply to that. So if we draw the top card from here, and it is a 3 of spades. If you're interested, map and dice playing cards from Inked Adventures. There we go. Right, 3 of spades opposing. magical, intuitive, strange. That basically means to me that he is opposing us because he finds us strange because we're an elf. So it must be a bit of a backward town that doesn't like elves. Is there anyone else up there we could talk to? That looks like a yes. So there's someone else, thank goodness, at this entrance gateway here that we can appeal to and hope that they are not going to be funny with us. So let's roll for our initial NPC reaction. For them, friendly, thank you. How friendly? Easy Tiger. Wants to trade. That's interesting. He seems to want a toll, this other person, for us to enter, which is fine. Don't mind that. So we finally get through the gate and we're allowed to make our way to the inn. Now we're going to keep our hood up, I think, to if some of these people are a bit funny with elves, we're going to yeah, we'll keep our hood up in our normal ranger fashion, but they're going to, it's pretty obvious we're an elf, isn't it? So we're going to go to the inn, we're going to talk to the landlord and see how they're going to be with us. 6 is a very hostile reaction. Everybody hates us. I'm going to stop rolling on this chart. How hostile? Why are they being hostile? 5 tries to trick or deceive. Perhaps telling us that there's no room at all, even though there is. There's no room at the inn. So we're gonna go somewhere else. Can we spot anyone around in the streets who might be friendly towards us and be able to help us? Qualifier here. 4, yes, and that's promising. Not only are they able to help us with our lodgings, but they're also willing to offer us some kind of gainful employment for someone with our skills. That's good. And what I'm thinking is this person would probably be a kindred spirit in their fondness for nature and the forests. So he might be a woodsman or a hunter or something. So that kind of character is the kind of person we've come across here. Perhaps it could be the person who looks after the deer or something for the Lord of the Manor, perhaps. So that might be very useful to us, because that would be a very handy person to have influence with. So Lia may have fallen on her feet here, and we just await to see what kind of adventures we could get into in the service of the Lord of the Manor. So this was a random, crazy, epic battle and a bit of an interlude as we move on to the next stage of Lia's life. Now, I'm currently working from home, as a lot of people are these days, if they can. So I have more time than I did have. So hopefully I'll be able to make more videos than I used to. We shall see. Yeah, but who'd have thought it, you know? Solo board gaming and solo role-playing seemed like a strange hobby to some people, but now it's a very useful hobby to have, because you've always got something to do if you're stuck inside. So, as always, stay safe, kids. I shall see you soon with something else.